Hey there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. I am with my good friend and industry colleague, Jay Croft of Prime Fit Content. How are you, Jay?
I'm excellent. How are you doing, Evan?
Awesome, awesome. We were just Instagramming each other, messaging each other this morning, and we're like, hey, why don't we jump on a live call today and discuss how do you communicate with your clients during this time? Because a lot of us are struggling. We're all business owners. We're struggling with serving our clients in the right way and communicating with them in an effective way, and clients maybe can't afford our services. And as you and I were just talking right before this call, Jay, one of the most important things that we can continue to do, that you can continue to do as a health and fitness professional, is continue reaching out to your clients. And that is so important. Your clients need communication. They need a community. They need a leader. And that's what I brought Jay on to discuss. And we're going to have a conversation around that. And Jay has a nice presentation. And if you guys like this content, just let us know. Please let us know on Facebook. And we'll bring him back next week for some more information. But Jay, why don't you introduce yourself to our community and share with them what you do?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me on today, Evan. I appreciate it. I'm a writer. I'm a content creator, digital editor, however you want to put it. I'm not a trainer. I don't own a studio or a gym. So my perspective on this is a little bit different, but I've been writing about this exclusively for a couple of years now. And my background is in professional communications. I was a newspaper reporter and editor for about 20 years at mainstream dailies all across the country. Ended up here in Atlanta, where I still live, and worked at the Journal-Constitution here for a long time before the newspaper industry kind of disappeared. And after that, I worked in communications and marketing departments of a few really giant corporations here in Atlanta. And after a few years of that, decided that I wanted to turn my focus to writing about fitness, because I noticed that there was a need in the market for helping people who are a little bit older, people who are like me. I just turned 50 a few years ago when I started thinking about all this. And I noticed that nobody was communicating to me anymore, as a customer. And I looked into it and found that that was generally true for people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, because the industry is so youth focused. So that was my entree into it. And I started just doing my due diligence about the industry and talking to people and learning about it. And so I do a lot of freelance writing for fitness businesses of all kinds. And I also write content that helps gyms and studios and trainers reach out to their clients and their prospects to keep the communications going and distinguish themselves in their marketplaces.
Awesome. So what is I asked you this earlier, and we started having a little discussion on this. What do you think is the number one thing that you've obviously communicated with some fitness and business owners? What is the number one thing that you have found is really working well, or that you've seen in the marketplace? Because everybody's obviously online right now. What have you seen that is really, really positive and working well?
A lot. And I say a lot because I'm really impressed with the energy and the creative spirit that I'm seeing a lot of gym and studio owners and trainers putting out there. Some people are kind of had that deer in the headlights immediately when this all started going crazy a few weeks ago, and others were on it, man, adapting, changing, being creative, trying to get ahead of it as much as possible, immediately reaching out to their people. And then maybe there's a middle group that's somewhere that's kind of trying to figure it out still. So I think generally what's working is doing something. Mm-hmm. What's not working is doing nothing. What's not working is the sky is falling. Why is this happening to me? I don't know what to do. I hate the computer. I don't want to learn how to do anything new. My people don't want to learn how to do anything new.
Right.
Just too bad. I don't know, but a more polite way to say it other than the world stopped spinning. And if you don't want to fall off, you're going to have to adapt a little bit, at least for the time being, until somebody gets it spinning again.
Correct.
So the main thing that people are doing to be successful now is they're taking action. They're taking a chance. They're realizing that they're going to have to take another action after this one, and another one after that one, and another one and another one, because this is changing day to day. It's changing week to week. You can't just say, okay, here's what I'm going to do now, right? This is my coronavirus strategy, and be done with it. It's constantly adapting. So I think that's the main thing. It's more of a mindset than a thing that you're doing. But the main thing that you have to do is communicate with your people. And by that, I don't just mean your clients, although of course that's super important, but also your team and your prospects even, because a lot of people are worried about losing their current clients. And so they're doing what they can to hold on to those, but they're also thinking about the future and not only holding on to what they have, but also continuing to build and continuing to communicate with prospects and thinking about how to get leads even. So we've all been dealt this great shock, but the principles of what you're doing still have to continue, and communications and marketing are a fact of life for business. They're not a nice to have, a must have, right? You can't just stop communicating, because what kind of message does that send to your community? And when this is over, you're going to want them to come back to you.
Right.
If they haven't heard from you during all this period, and you haven't provided any value, any support, any help, any comfort, then they will move on to the people who are. I could go on and on about this. I don't want to so I want to let you, guide the conversation a little bit.
No.
But really important to talk to your people. You just have to, and you can't do it enough. When you think you've communicated too much, do it again.
Exactly.
Because not everyone looks at Facebook every day, and not everyone opens every email you send, and not everyone remembers that text that you sent. So you have to take it upon yourself to let your people know what's going on, and you have to show some leadership in your community. I think somebody smarter than I am said that you're not just a trainer anymore. Your role, your job description just got a lot bigger.
Right.
And I'd love to know if you're hearing that too, because you're really having to reach out to people and motivate them and help them understand that they can't just sit on the couch and watch Netflix, because this isn't going to be a 2-week thing.
Correct.
You finding that as well?
Absolutely. I just shared a story on Facebook Live to our community yesterday that I have a good friend she's 70 years of age, and she has a good friend who's 79. Very fit guy, healthy, active, races cars. He got the coronavirus and was put on a ventilator, and very few people that go on a ventilator get off, especially at that age. But he successfully came through it. So he's one of the positive stories that are coming out of this. And I was trying to, illustrate to our community that it's so important that even if your clients can't afford to stay on with you, please continue to communicate with them and give them healthy, conversations and tidbits and information, because that's their best fighting chance. I mean, obviously the best fighting chance is stay in isolation and, stay away from people right now. However, the next best chance you have is, because you have to go to the grocery store and things like that, is stay active, stay fit, stay healthy, do the things that are within your control with your diet, your nutrition. And you mentioned it also, your mindset.
Right. So, the message used to be, get to the gym, right? Get to the studio, exercise, hire a trainer, work out. Now the message is a little bit different. It's the message is take care of yourself.
Correct.
And exercise as much as you can, move your body. You can work out at home. A lot of gyms and studios, of course, have transitioned to making online training available. And that is spectacular. That's another thing, of course, that the successful ones are doing right now, is they very quickly have become providers of online training, which is essential at this time. But they have to do more than that.
Correct.
And they have to build a community with their people.
Correct.
It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, and maybe that's not what they signed up for when they opened their gym.
Right.
But that's what they've got to do right now, is provide online training. Call your people, make sure they know how to use Zoom or Facebook Live or FaceTime or Google Watch or whatever it is that you're using.
Right. I was I just got off a call with one of my colleagues, and he was saying, like, I'm so exhausted because I'm teaching my people not only like about exercise, but I'm also teaching them about technologies. Like, how do you use Zoom? How do you log in? How do you use Facebook? How do you use some of this technology to continue to stay in touch? So even our clients are having to adapt to that lifestyle too. If they didn't want to be on social media, now's an opportunity to like stay connected through social media. So, we see the benefits, the positive benefits that social media can apply in this day and age.
Right, and that's it. It's really, this whole experience, a lot of it is how we choose to look at it. And what you just said about how you choose to look at social media, imagine if this had happened 30 years ago.
I was just saying that.
God, could you imagine?
No, just being in your house by yourself and like you have no idea what's going on out there and no way to communicate with other people. I mean, if this is going to happen, this is the best time to have it happen because now you like I was FaceTiming with my friend. It was so funny. I was talking to my friend yesterday and I was making fun of my wife because my wife is having like these sort of wine meetings with her girlfriends, these social hours. And I'm like, man, my wife was like talking to her girlfriend for like 4 hours. And my 70-year-old friend is like, man, I could never do that. I'm like, I could never do that. I'm like, what time is it? And she's like 12:30. I'm like, she's like, what time did you call me? I'm like 10:30. Like we were on the phone for like 2 hours, FaceTiming each other for 2 hours. So it really is a great way to stay in communication. Not that you do that 2 hours with your clients. I'm just saying stay in communication with FaceTime and texting and phone calls, email. There's many different medium that people will respond to. As you said, Jay, not everybody's going to respond to every single medium. So you want to be really consistent with your message.
I work a lot with gyms and studios and trainers that provide services to older people, 50 and above. And one of the great myths about this demographic is that they don't want to learn technology. They're afraid of Facebook. They hate the phone and all of that. Well, I just think it's nonsense. Of course, some of them don't want to use it and some of them do, just like any other demographic, But I tell you what, I've got a story that I'm publishing tomorrow about a woman I talked to in North Carolina who I don't even think she might not even have a computer. She has a smartphone, but she texts and that's it. She doesn't want to do anything else, but she's devoted to her fitness because she knows she needs it. So the guy who runs her studio offered to help her. And he said it took 2 or 3 calls totaling more than 30 minutes of him going over it, really trying his patience. But they got it worked out and she couldn't be happier. And I asked her, I said, what about this idea that people your age don't want to learn anything new? And she said, no, you need to understand something. I'm not afraid of the world. I live my life. I'm not afraid of technology or any of that. I just don't want to be on it all the time. I've got things to do.
Right.
So it's not that I can't learn anything new. It's that I don't want to. I have other priorities. And what a light bulb moment. Yeah. So every time someone says old people are afraid of Zoom, no, they're not. No. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to take that extra step, like this trainer did in North Carolina, and hold people's hand until they get on board with it.
Absolutely. What I've done with one of my clients is he's 82, and his wife literally, his wife, like I tell her what to do with him. I'm like, all right, stand there. Let me see his posture. Let me have him move. Let me see his range of motion. And then I have her literally, I'm like, put your hand here. Have him breathe into your hand. I want you to reach his arm overhead. Release through here. Like his wife is actually doing the physical therapy on my client and working him through the exercises. Like he's familiar with the exercises because I've taught him. But she's there checking his alignment and so forth, and you correcting him when he's not doing it well. So it's really cool to see people come together that way and learn new skills. I joke around with her. I'm like I'm going to have to hire you after this because you're doing such a great job. Like you said, just taking the patience and the time to help people navigate this new world is really key. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and we got to remember that again. That you asked what's working. What's working is remembering why people sought your services to begin with, and will continue. You will get new customers. You will get new people. Maybe not today, but it will happen. And the motivations for being fit aren't going to change.
Correct.
Just the delivery system has to be a little bit different right now. But they still need your training. They still need your expertise and your time and your attention to detail that they can't do on their own, and they're still willing to pay for it. So that's what I see that's working, is the people who are just doing it. It's the bottom line.
Excellent. Now, you were telling me that you wrote an ebook, and tell me about the ebook and how it can benefit health and fit pros.
Sure. So I put together some online resources that are free, and you can download them. We'll give you the link here in a bit, just to help people understand how to communicate a little bit and how to provide content that's useful. So the content that I believe you need to keep sending is not just on how to work out or workout programs, which I do not provide. That's up to you to do. But what you also need to keep doing is providing things that are interesting and amusing and entertaining and informative and relevant to your clients and your prospects. And you need to be sharing those things on Facebook or whatever social media channels you use, and in your email newsletters, which you need to keep sending out, and in your updates to the blogs. People are on the computer these days. They're looking for this information. They've got time on their hands. So you need to be providing that content about the lifestyle benefits and the motivations of being healthy and exercising and taking care of yourself, which now, of course, by necessity also include managing stress and sleeping better and eating well and all of that. So that's the kind of content that we're talking about here. And I put together this deck, Evan. Can I go ahead and share my screen for your folks?
Absolutely. I'd love for you to.
Okay. So just some thoughts on your general communications. These are really helpful to keep in mind. We want to use a compassionate tone and say things like, "We're all in this together." You know, we can't be too patient with each other in this time. Be clear about whatever changes you're making to your operations, and state them over and over again. Focus on how you can help, not so much about how you can make $1 right now. Time for that will come right now. You want to look at how you can help. But don't fall back into doubting your value and say, well, I'm not this, I'm not that. What can I do anyway? You got here because you have value to contribute, and they still want you to contribute what you can. And don't be afraid to look for an opportunity. You know, I've heard from some people who don't want to market at this time because they think it might be opportunistic. And it's not opportunistic to let people know that you exist and that what your services are and what your are. Opportunistic is something like price gouging or hoarding hand sanitizer and then selling it at a big markup, that kind of thing. So those are just some basics to keep in mind with general communications. As far as marketing, I think everyone would agree that this is no time to cut your advertising entirely. You can reduce your advertising budget if you feel like you need to, but there's a lot of good deals on Facebook right now for advertising. And you need to keep up your advertising as well as your marketing, which is adjacent to advertising, and keep it useful and informative. You don't have to put the sell on for everything. Communicate on multiple platforms like we were talking about. And you can lead with empathy and be positive without being silly about it. No one wants to, we all want to hear some positive news, like we both shared a couple of examples, but those are actual true things that happen. They're not silly, like, oh, this will be over soon.
Right.
Or if we all just stick into it together, everything will be fine. Or if you just wake up with a happy face with a smile. No, this is serious stuff. So we need to be realistic about it. And this fourth bullet point, I think, is really important. And it gets back to the communications. What we need to do, we need to let people know that we're committed and that they're important to us. And the people who succeed and who are going to be around when this is over are the ones who did that, who made sure that their clients knew that they were there for them. There's also an opportunity here for good free PR in your community. Every newspaper and every TV station in this country, they're all desperate for local stories about coronavirus and positive stories about coronavirus. And when you think about what you're all doing, training people amid a crisis, you're making a really innovative pivot in how you're delivering your services by training people at home. And that's really a positive story. It's a local story. It's also a very visual story. So they're going to love that. Don't be afraid to find the right person to call at your TV stations and your newspaper and pitch them a story. Some people are doing local fundraisers for their businesses in their community. You know, that 21-day challenge or something where all the proceeds go to a local community organization for businesses that are suffering. Do something like that and make sure people know about it. That's even better. You know, it's a great story. I spent many years in the media. I still work in the media, and this is gold. You can't go wrong with that. And then I just want to say one last thing about communications is, you know, it all starts at the top. We're probably talking here a lot to gym owners and studio owners, people who are in charge of their businesses, and take that extra leadership step to establish clarity, to establish some leadership and some responsibility. It makes me wince when I go onto Facebook and see someone ranting about something that has nothing to do with their business or their services.
Right. I agree.
You see that? Do you see people complaining about, I don't care if it's the media or the president or you know, fate or whatever. Rise above. You know, rise above.
I actually did a Facebook post last week on that very point. I said to my community, I'm like, your community needs leaders. They don't need people throwing fuel on the fire and creating more division between ideology. Let's rise up. Leaders rise above that kind of nonsense and serve their community. And you may not agree with the political situation. You may have a certain opinion. Don't use this time as your platform. You know, you're not a politician, and it may be important to you, and you may be passionate about it, but your clients need you to be solid for them, and creating more divisiveness is not the way to do that now. There's another time and place for that. Now is not the time and place for that. So
save it. That's right. Save it. You want to be bringing value to people,
correct,
and showing some leadership and helping them establish some new healthy habits and provide them with healthy information that's going to get them to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure. You know, Evan, the other stuff I have, I'm happy to, I don't want to go through bore everybody with all my material, but I do want to say I've got this free kit, communications kit, that's got some free content that you can share with your audience. Awesome. And it also has this deck that we just went over and the ebook that I put together about how to build a community online. You know, you need to have, and actually I think that's something that we should talk about here for a minute if we have time left, just to talk about building a community online. So go to my website, download my free content. There's no cost. You have to give your email address to get it, to download it, but that's it. And my website is primefitcontent.com, and there's a tab that says communications kit. So it's primefitcontent.com, communications kit. Get it. I think there's some good resources there for you. Nothing that's going to sell you too much on me, I promise. Yeah. So about community, very quickly, online training or online workouts or programming became a commodity. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Instagram, you can go everywhere, and all you see are people selling you training.
Yep.
So the thing that you can sell to your people is not just your training, but the thing that makes you special, which is you and your community and your connection to all your folks and your role in your community beyond your clients and prospects. And that's going to keep people paying. It's going to keep people engaged. It's going to make them feel like you're providing value, even though they can't go to the gym. You know, some people are afraid to charge the same rates that they were charging before this. Others are not. Others are charging exactly what they charged beforehand. And the way they're making up for it is by providing more value, and that value comes in community. Right. And a great way to do that is by taking some steps like establishing a private Facebook group just for your clients. You can even establish a separate private Facebook group for clients who want a higher level of service and are willing to pay for it. You can establish community by giving them a bunch of stuff when you start online training with them. Branded items. Could be a water bottle with your logo on it. It could be a t-shirt with your logo on it, a hand towel, a stress ball. You can get these items for a low price, put them in a nice little goodie bag, and make them available to your people at a minimal cost. And then while they're working out with you, as they're watching you on Zoom or whatever video platform, they're also wiping off with your hand towel and they're wearing your t-shirt, and
Right.
It's a nice thing. And
Jay, I actually had a buddy who he basically created these little goodie bags, and he just went and delivered them to people. Just left them outside people's houses. So again, just another way to add value to your community, to let them know, like, wow, who's delivering things, little products to me. I mean, like that goes a long way to building that community, like you're talking about.
That's right. So we've got some other things we can do to build the community, to make them see that you care, and to help them get in a good workout. They still want to have a good, safe, effective workout, and you can still provide them that. But you have to do more than that. Does that make sense, Evan? That
Yeah, absolutely.
They can get a workout routine anywhere, right?
Absolutely. I had another Facebook post / rant where I was like, isn't it interesting that now it's like, a couple of weeks ago there's people selling real estate or being actors, and now they're doing online fitness. Everybody and their brother is jumping online because they know that that's one place where people are making money. And so again, Jay, that's why I had you on, because I think it's so important that you communicate and create a community with your clients, so they know that you are the resource, you are the expert, that this is what your life is dedicated to, that you're not just some fly-by-night person. Because again, like you said, Jay, if when this comes back around, like, and gyms start to open up and facilities open up and people are ready to go out, if you were quiet and disappeared, they're going to gravitate towards the people that they've seen it and were supported by. So be that person, be that expert for your clients, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, and keep sending them good stuff to read, videos that are helpful, articles that are engaging. Your audience better than anyone else does. So what's going to be helpful to them? That is not the same as what's going to get you a sale. It's what's going to keep them engaged, to keep you in front of them in a way that's not obnoxious and in a way that's helpful, so that they continue to have that good relationship with you and with each other. I'll tell you, I'm hearing a lot from, again, this happens to be with a trainer who teaches mostly older people, but it applies for everybody. This idea that, they don't want to learn to use Zoom or whatever video conferencing,
right, or
to have an online workout. You know what they like? They're delighted by the way Zoom and the other things show everyone's faces, so they get to see their friends.
That's great.
Think about the friends you have at the gym. They're not necessarily the friends you call. Right. I've been going to the same gym for many years. I've got friends at the gym I don't even know their last name, but I like to see them 3 or 4 times a week, and I know when they go on vacation and they ask if if they haven't seen me in a week, they ask if I've been sick, or you have those friendships, that sense of community. And until you go through an online workout, it might not occur to you that that's a benefit of it. It's a lot of fun.
Right. And again, I think it brings it real. Like, for example, like we had a group, of business owners that we all got together and communicated. It lets you know that, hey, there's other people just like me that are in this situation, and we have the same fears and the same worries and the same concerns, and we can come together to support each other and figure out what's working, what's not working. And like you said, just see that familiar face and hear that familiar voice that becomes part of our normal routine. That's not normal anymore, but this can be your new normal routine until we get back to the point where we're able to get back together in person.
That's right. And when that happens, man, you think about it. We of course don't know how long this is going to last, but for purposes of this conversation, let's just say it's going to be a little while longer, and then one day we'll maybe slowly, maybe gradually, things will become something like what they used to be. Who knows, right? Who knows what this is going to do? But if you want to be viable as a brick and mortar when this is over, I hate to even say that because who knows what that's going to look like. But again, just for purposes of this conversation, let's say when this is over, if you want to be viable the way that you work, you just have to keep doing this. You have to keep people engaged, just like you have to keep your team engaged, right? And you have to manage your finances. You need to be calling your landlord and seeing what kind of deals you can get. You need to be calling your bank and seeing what kind of financing you can get. You need to be applying for these business loans that the government's making. All the responsible things you need to do as a business owner to keep you in the game through this period and to set you up for success when it gets back to normal, if it gets back to normal.
Yeah, whatever that new normal is, because there will definitely be a new normal. I don't think we're ever going back to the way things were, and hopefully, that'd be nice. But the reality is, it probably won't be that way again. And if your goal is to come through this and be stronger, more resilient, and to have a community of people that are ready to support you, then don't abandon them now. Be that leader for them. Reach out to them. Communicate with them. Be consistent. Create a community for them. And I really appreciate all that you have to share with us and for giving that resource. If you want to give that resource one more time, where they can go to get that free ebook and that package you created.
Sure. It's on my website, which is Prime Fit Content, Prime like Prime of Your Life, fitcontent.com. And the various tabs at the top of the screen, one of them is Communications Kit. And I've got some other copy on the screen that directs you to it. It's just a simple download. It's a lot of good basic information that I think you'll find useful, regardless of who you're training or where you are. And I'm also, of course, on Facebook, Prime Fit Content, and on Instagram.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining us. I would love to have you back again at some point here in the near future to discuss this topic, because I know you're passionate about it and you've really done a lot of great work in helping health and fitness professionals communicate their message and providing content and giving them a direction of how to communicate that content. So I really appreciate all you do and for sharing with my community as well.